Hi everyone, welcome to TV Black Box on what can only be described as a big day for the Australian media industry. Just had confirmation that Nine CEO Hugh Marks has resigned from the company effective immediately. Big shocks, big surprise. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Um, Here at TV Black Box, we got news through a bit after 3 o'clock today that something might be happening. We started putting in a few phone calls, asking questions as you do. And it didn't take long when we got a statement through from Nine indicating that yes, Hugh Marks had resigned. There was a board meeting today, a surprise board meeting. It wasn't a board meeting that planned, but there was a board meeting today. And at that board meeting, Hugh Marks confirmed his decision to depart the company. So there was a statement provided. It's a lengthy statement. It's a statement that says all the things that you might expect the statement to say. It thanks all the right people. It lists all of the achievements. But at the same time, it's a statement that doesn't really provide any real reason for why Hugh Marks, such a successful CEO, why he is departing the business in such a surprise move, just days after the annual general meeting. So there's no real explanation at all, no real hint of why he's made this sudden decision. So that brings us to what we do know and what has been reported in the past about Hugh. And and when you go through these reports, it's important to consider the source of where this information is coming from, because Nine, about 2 years ago, they merged with Fairfax, and they became a huge publisher in this country, and now they're in a stiff competition against News Corp. And so when you have two competing companies like that, they're very competitive companies. They play a fierce game, and they don't mind using their column inches to occasionally attack their rivals. So, about this time last year, there was a story that appeared in the Daily Telegraph that revealed the information that Hugh Marks had separated from his wife. It was a marriage of 20 years that, for whatever reason, we don't know the reason. It's not for us to know the reason. It's frankly none of our business. But a marriage of 20 years had come to an end, and so the release of this information in Telegraph, I should say, that caused Hugh Marks to release a statement where he had to ask for people to respect his privacy, of his family's privacy and his children's privacy. So you can imagine how uncomfortable a situation that would have been for him, because Hugh Marks is someone who definitely does value his personal privacy and that of his family. So that brings us forward to, it was in March, and there was another story in the Daily Telegraph, this time from Annette Sharp, who's a well-known columnist in that paper. She's someone who doesn't mind sharing her opinion, and she gets plenty of stories right, and she's also developed plenty of enemies along the years, because she plays a tough game, and she doesn't mince her words. But so anyway, Annette Sharp released this story, and it included photos of Hugh Marks in a park, eating lunch, eating chips, laying down, just casually in a park, but he was alongside his executive assistant, Jane Rutledge. Now, there's no photos of any touching or anything inappropriate. It's just two people having lunch in a park, relaxing. But of course, when photos like that are published, it leads to more speculation. It leads to more rumours, and it's important to note, and it's very important to note, that Hugh Marks has always denied that there was any sort of romantic relationship with Jane Rutledge. So it was very important to note that. But when photos like this are published in, it's got to be noted, a rival publication, it leads to more rumours and more speculation, and that's kind of continued through the year. And even this week at the annual general meeting, we had questions from the media asking about this relationship, and it forced Nine's chairman, Peter Costello. He had to address it publicly and indicate that no company policies had been broken as a result of that potential relationship with his executive assistant, Jane Rutledge. But that brings us to today. And there was another story, and this time it was a story in the Sydney Morning Herald, a Nine-owned publication. And this story confirmed a relationship, not with Jane Rutledge, but with another Nine employee. This was the Director of Commercial, Alexi Baker. someone who had been reporting directly to Hugh Marks over an extended period of time. They'd been working closely together for a couple of years at least in that business. And, Alexei had been involved in several of the important negotiations that Nine had been involved with. And so there's a close working relationship there. And this story was confirmed from Hugh Marks this time in a Nine paper, confirmed that there had been a relationship form in the last few months. And the story went on to indicate that Alexei Baker had, in recent times, in the last few weeks, made the decision to depart Nine to avoid any potential conflicts or things like that, while this relationship got more serious. So that was this morning's development. And so then that leads us to this afternoon when we've had this sudden revelation that Hugh Marks has made the decision that he is leaving Nine, and leaving effective immediately is quite a surprise decision. So, well, you can make of that what you will. I guess in time we'll probably learn more. But I guess it's a bit, when I reflect on it all, it's a little bit of a sad end to a career that has really been outstanding. I think, Hugh Marks became CEO of Nine in 2015, and in that time, he's achieved an extraordinary amount for that business. It can't be underestimated how much Channel 9 has changed over the last 5, nearly 6 years. It's just been a huge transformation. You look back to some of the early decisions with the cricket, and Hugh Marks, everyone else at Nine had for generations had loved the cricket and been almost single-mindedly obsessed with the cricket. They thought it was part of their DNA. But Hugh Marks was someone who could come in and look at it and see that it was hugely expensive. It was just their biggest expense for the year. And it was a sport where there was just constant risk of rain delays. It was, most notably, there was the Sydney test where pretty much the whole test was just rained out, and they lost 5 days of broadcasting. And Hugh Marks just looked at this and said, what are we spending all this money for on this sport that is just so unreliable and just delivers ratings in the daytime and not much in prime time? And so he dumped the cricket, and it was a move that shocked many, but he just got out of cricket and made this surprise move into tennis and the Australian Open. And it was far less investment financially, but the return in ratings and the return at the right time of the year, right when they're wanting to relaunch their new year, the tennis has been massive for Nine, and it's one of the reasons that Nine has returned to that number one pedestal, that number one position in the ratings, and Hugh Marks is very much to thank for that. And that's not his only claim. Like, you have to look at digital, because let's be honest, broadcast TV is dying. It is in contraction, and so Hugh Marks could see this, that Nine was going to have to change, and so they went into creating digital and subscription video with Stan and the catch-up platform Nine Now. These are new digital businesses, and that's the future of broadcasting. It's not the old-fashioned antenna on the roof. That's dead. That's on life support. And so that was an obvious move that had to be made, and he was the one who did it at a time when Channel 7 they refused to do it, and you can see where Channel 7 has ended up because of it. But that wasn't his only thing. You can see what he's done as far as expanding the business into other forms of digital, with the merger with Fairfax, and taking on those print assets and the website assets and the radio assets. And even just this last week, we've seen with Stan, there's this drive into sport, which is creating a whole nother digital business. And so we're at the point now where Nine, who once was a TV business, they're now a digital business, and they derive, I think it's like 60% of their business comes not from television. It comes from all those other areas, areas like the real estate with domains. So it can't be underestimated how much Hugh Marks has achieved. And this end, it's a surprising end. It's a bit of a sad end, and it's an end that I hope we don't lose sight of his achievements. because they are many. And I hope we see Hugh Marks in another Australian media business soon, because he's a visionary and he's the sort of person that we need. Thank you for joining us on TV Black Box.